Earlier this year, Florida's House of Representatives approved a Republican-backed bill that prohibits classroom discussions of sexual orientation and gender identity, a measure Democrats denounced as being anti-LGBTQ. Dubbed the Don't Say Gay bill by opponents, the legislation is part of a broader political debate in the United States over how sexual orientation and gender identity should be recognized in schools, sports, and healthcare settings. On Friday, July 1, the bill is set to take effect. PRISM, a non-profit organization based in Florida, focuses on education and sport for younger LGBTQ+ community members. Co-founder Maxx Fenning says the group is extremely worried.
We are extremely worried. We've already seen the repercussions, even in the months leading up to this bill becoming law and going into effect. We've already seen the ways that school districts are proactively intending to essentially brace themselves for the widest interpretation possible of this legislation because it's intentionally vague.
Caroline Mella Corbin, a professor of constitutional law at the University of Miami, said the unclear nature of the law will lead to self-censorship, also known in legal circles as a chilling effect.
The law is really unclear. It's really vague because what exactly counts as inappropriate discussions of gender identity and sexual orientation? Nobody knows. And the consequence of this is that schools and teachers are going to err on the side of caution. And so they're going to end up censoring themselves, even when they may not have to. And there's actually a term for this in free speech doctrine because it is such a common phenomenon, and it's known as chill. Right? When a law is ambiguous, and people can't understand what's covered by the law and what's outside the law, they're going to chill their speech. That's going to chill speak. When people don't know what's actually illegal or not, they're going to censor themselves. And so the law is going to chill speech that may not even be covered by the law. The part of it that most people are focused on is the part that bars teachers from instructing students about sexual orientation or gender identity. And it's completely banned in lower grades. And then it may only be discussed in a way that is appropriate in higher grades. It's hard to list all the things that is wrong with this bill, or this law, I should say, at this point. First, it is really problematic from a free speech perspective.
The lack of any acknowledgement of non-traditional relationships in a school setting is cause for concern for some. Giving an example of a second-grade student, Fenning said that the politics of it all may go over their heads.
I think that the political end of sexuality and all of those sorts of things are not something that is easily interpreted by a second grader, and that's just reality, right? They're not thinking about legislation and what this all means, but what they are thinking about is people, families and people loving each other. I mean, I played house when I was during recess when I was in elementary school, and those sorts of broader more romanticized ideas of love and marriage and all of these different things are definitely something that I know I was thinking about when I was in second grade, and being able to see that represented is so impactful, especially for second graders who have LGBT parents. It's a bit of a cliche term to say that representation matters, but it is true. And that's why it's said so, it's said so often and uses this rallying cry, is because being able to see yourself in a community, being able to see a mirror being held in front of you when you're looking at history, when you're looking at literature, when you're looking at things as simple as math problems. It's being able to see yourself in those subtle ways is so impactful. We see that that students who have LGBT inclusive education are less likely to have attempted suicide, or less likely to skip school due to fear of being bullied based on their gender identity or sexual orientation, have higher GPAs on average. There's, have higher rates of intending to go to college after they graduate high school and graduating high school in the first place. And all of those things are real numbers and real metrics that are important to being able to lead a healthy and successful and productive life.
The Florida bill states that classroom instructions by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grades 3 or in any manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with state standards.
And to those who think you can legislate gay people away, I'm sorry. You cannot. I think you should spend your time legislating to protect them.